Welcome to Category 5 Technology TV, episode number 410 for the 28th of July, 2015. I'm Robbie Ferguson, and tonight we're joined by our friend Frank Skubski from Beltone, Canada. We're going to be talking about all the innovations that have happened there over the past year, some of the really cool stuff that's coming out to help those who are hard of hearing with that issue, and we're going to be talking to him in just a couple of minutes' time.
This is Category 5 Technology TV. Starring Sasha Dermatis, Hillary Rumble, Krista Wells, Eric Kidd, and your host, Robbie Ferguson.
Welcome to Category 5 Technology TV, episode number 410. I can't believe we're at 410 already. Here we are. I'm Robbie Ferguson. I'm joined by Frank Skubski. He's the General Manager of Beltone, Canada. Frank, nice to see you again.
Good to see you.
It was about a year ago we had you on the show via Skype to talk about some of the great things that Beltone was doing. Of course, it's an old industry, hearing aids, but you guys have really stayed at the forefront. Love to know a little bit about what is the background of Beltone.
Well, Beltone was founded actually in 1940, so we celebrated our 75th anniversary this year, building hearing instruments and providing solutions to people who are, challenged at least with their hearing instruments or their hearing in general. And over that time, I mean, basically for a company to stay in business, because I think if you look 75 years ago, there's a lot of companies that aren't in business anymore. To stay in business, especially in a technology and medical industry, you've got to be on the forefront. So we're pretty proud about all this new technology that we've come out with, especially in the last 5 years as we've entered into the wireless age.
It's so interesting. So as having been around for that many years, you've seen a lot of technology change. Has that been something that's been pushing you to innovate? Is that something that's really driven you to have to keep up with the changes that are in the kind of the field? Yeah, I mean, number one, we have a very competitive industry, right? I mean, there's a lot of companies that build hearing aids, so we're always looking for a technological edge. But also, I think hearing instruments and hearing in general is really just all about communication, right? So as we see these advances in communication devices, it only makes sense that we eventually are going to be interfacing with those sorts of devices. So I think a lot of things that we've seen since the 90s in mobile communications, certainly that's been what's been spurring us on to keep abreast of those sorts of technologies. So what has been kind of the biggest innovation over the past, say, 5 years when it comes to hearing technology?
Well, I say the biggest innovation really is wireless technology.
Wireless as in... where does wireless come into play with a headset for hearing aids? Well,
here, I mean, basically being able to, interface either with devices that will wirelessly control your hearing instrument, devices that you can pair with, sort of intermediary devices where you can listen on your telephone, being able to have the hearing instrument stream directly to all these different devices that are supporting you.
Yeah, I remember last year, it was episode number 385, I believe. No, 352, pardon me, that we spoke last. And one of the really interesting innovations was being able to connect to an iPhone.
Right.
And using that to, for example, walk into my favorite restaurant. Geolocation says, here is where I am.
Yep.
Here's my preset that I usually use when I'm in this building. And all of a sudden my hearing aid adjusts so that I'm able to hear a lot better.
Correct.
What has changed in the past 12 months?
Well, number one, we have the hearing instruments are available, the different styles of hearing instruments, the sizes of them. We call those form factors in our industry.
Sure,
so
yeah.
we have, our sort of standard, what we call a receiver in the ear or behind the ear instrument.
That looks similar to the ones that we were looking at a year ago.
But now we're able to put wireless or antennas, the FM antennas that are inside here, in more custom products. So you could have an actual custom hearing instrument that will actually have wireless capabilities. So that's even it's a smaller device. It's less conspicuous. People can't see it at all. You can stream music through something like that. You can talk on the telephone.
This is a full Beltone hearing aid?
That's right. Yeah, and that's
this is communicating with my phone in the same way?
Yeah, and that's custom made for an individual.
That's awesome.
So there's a little small FM antenna in there. So that's one of the big improvements. We've made a lot of improvements to the app as well, the Beltone Hear Plus app. On our new product line, it's called the Beltone Legend, which is really an extension of that Beltone First product that we first talked about. So number one, more choices. Number two, enhancements in terms of the app, in terms of what you can do with the app. And it's gone as far as that you can actually go into, because before we could do some treble, bass, volume, and select a program. Now we can actually set, how much noise reduction we want in a noisy environment.
Background noise, being able to remove that from what I'm hearing.
You can really go in there and control that. Wind noise suppression. If I'm out there, say, on the golf course one day and it's just a little too windy, I can actually reduce the wind noise on my hearing instrument too as well.
That's amazing. So when I think about hearing aids, okay, I like to think that I've got pretty good hearing, and I haven't gone to too many concerts and stuff like that, so I'm pretty okay. But who are hearing aids for, really? I mean, it's not just, I know that it's not just for deaf people, if you will. Right.
Well, I think, what we say is, to get a hearing instrument, all you have to have is a hearing loss, right? So, currently today, as we get older, we do lose our hearing.
It's happening.
Right? Just like you have to start wearing reading glasses or something like that, eventually your hearing's going to go. When you hit age 65, for instance, we estimate about 35% of all people 65 plus need a hearing instrument or some sort of help.
Yeah.
When you hit around 75, and let's face it, people are living longer, right? They're
this is good. This is good.
This is good. But by the time they hit around age 75, it's getting closer to 50% could benefit from using a hearing instrument.
Really? Yeah.
And really what goes, it's all those high frequency sounds that go. So those are the speech cues that allow you to differentiate speech, to be able to discriminate what somebody's saying to you.
I admit that, like, if I'm in a really busy, crowded room and stuff, sometimes it's hard to make out the person who's sitting across from me. Sometimes the kids, and so I say I've got good hearing, and maybe when I'm sitting here with you, but there are times when, if the kids are making a lot of noise, I have a lot of trouble differentiating sounds. And there was an interesting thing that happened to me, and perhaps you can tell me if Beltone is able to help with this. This actually happened at work. One of our UPSs was going off. There was a problem with the battery, and it has this high-pitched beep.
Right.
And it was really annoying me, and I plugged my one ear.
Right.
And then I wasn't able to hear it anymore. And I unplugged my left ear, and I thought, that's really weird. I can hear it perfectly, and I can hear out of my right ear absolutely perfectly, but it seemed that pitch, that tone, was gone from my right ear. As strange as that is.
Yeah, until you actually got what we would call a hearing test and have an audiogram made. Certainly if that sound was in a certain frequency, there could be an instance where maybe we have what we call a notch kind of loss at that point. Yeah. That could be from noise, for a noise-induced hearing loss or something like that, a sudden loud sound. So it could be a certain frequency that you're just not cueing into. But that would require someone to actually test your hearing. And
so are you able to enhance those certain frequencies that I'm having trouble with? It's a high-pitched noise, so it's not a big problem.
Yeah, we can. That's what we do basically, is we take the hearing loss and then we build what we call gain, onto that loss so that this person can fall into, I guess, what we would call a more normal range, Yeah, and I encounter that working in technology, working with audio, even the audio of our show, if we have the low rumble of the air conditioner running, which unfortunately isn't happening today, but when it does, sometimes we'll have to remove that. So we look at the wave table, and we're able to remove those particular frequencies, and this is able to do something similar, but enhance it for me so that I can hear better. So what other innovations are here in front of me? I see several different pieces of technology. These are all wireless devices that we can actually interface with the hearing instrument. So this is just basically So if you don't have an iPhone or the Samsung Galaxy S6 Android platform, and you just want to use something very simple, you can use this as a remote control, and it will do many of the same things that your iPhone will do. It's chargeable.
That's really great.
And it's a lot smaller, right?
So if you're not an iPhone user, you can use this instead to still have the same functionality, essentially?
That's correct.
That's very good.
This device right here actually will operate like the volume control as well. You can adjust the volume, but it has a little clip in the back here, so I'll clip it on my shirt, and this will allow me to pair with the telephone, okay, and then I'll be able to stream directly to the hearing instruments. Music,
phone calls,
whatever you want, and there's whatever you want. So, and you can see it says phone, or just a microphone.
Sure.
This right here, this other device right here is what we call a MyPal, and this is a remote microphone. So this is for somebody who's like in a challenging situation or in a meeting or something like that.
Sure.
And so what I can do is I can clip that on you.
Right.
And I could be 7 meters away from you, and that will stream directly to my hearing instruments.
So a church service, give it to the pastor and say,
exactly.
Here, can you clip this on your shirt?
Exactly.
Fantastic.
Exactly. Or if you're in the espionage business or something like that.
I didn't want to say it. I wasn't sure how this was going to go. That's cool. Well, there's another, and I see some other stuff here.
Yeah.
I want to talk a little bit about what you've been up to over the past little while. I know there's another piece of technology that I see on your wrist that is really kind of revolutionizing the way people interact with their hearing instrument.
Right. And basically with the introduction of the Apple Watch, our app basically is compatible with the Apple Watch, right? So it syncs up to it automatically. So many of the features that are available on the iPhone, for your Beltone hearing instrument, like controlling the volume, changing programs, you can do this all directly through the Apple Watch. Okay.
That's fantastic.
So while you're sitting there in a restaurant, for instance, and
if you could bring this in here just so that we can catch this on the camera here.
Yeah, so I
see
can
volume control.
I can adjust the volume on it.
Yeah.
I can select different programs on it, and so say I want to go to well, you can hear it whistling
it's on.
Right now. It's on, that's for sure. So, but I can adjust different programs on it. Let's see if I can turn that down a little bit for you. There it goes.
That's really fantastic from a usability standpoint. Obviously, it's not in your ear, so we're getting a lot of feedback, but that really makes it a lot easier, I think, to operate.
Yeah, the programs, treble and bass, are available too as well. So certainly, I mean, a lot of flexibility, and it's, it's discreet for the user of the instrument, because people just think you're just adjusting or looking at your Apple Watch, but really what you're doing is you're adjusting your hearing instrument.
And then I guess if you've got something as inconspicuous as this, you're just going to have a certain comfort level that has never been available before. Absolutely. Cool. So it really is. I mean, the biggest problem that we have in the hearing industry is the stigma associated with wearing a hearing instrument, because everybody thinks that. I remember when my grandfather had a hearing instrument, or my grandmother had a hearing instrument, and that's not necessarily what I want, because they're big, they're bulky, they whistle. Really, they've come such a far way, and now with the full, compatibility with all these different Apple devices, and being able to adjust them with these devices, it certainly makes it a little more appealing. While you're mentioning Apple, one of the thoughts that comes to mind, and I'm sure that our chat room wants to know as well, what about other devices, say if I'm an Android user, for example?
Well, our app is now available on the Android platform. Although the telephone that you have to utilize is very specific. It's the Samsung Galaxy S6 version. Okay. So a very current phone. And is that going to be available on other devices as well? Well, we're looking at the Android platform really in particular right now, because it does have such a high user rate in areas outside of North America, especially. Sure. Yeah. So right now, Apple and the Android platform.
Very cool. Any questions in the chat room at this point? Sasha, have we...
Can the new hearing aids get software viruses, like with the new technology? Can you?
I haven't come across that before. So I would say right now, I haven't heard of anybody trying to hack into the the hearing instruments at all.
Yeah, that's an interesting thought. Is as far as security goes, how is this connected? Is this Bluetooth or?
Well, it's done through a 2.4 gigahertz FM signal.
Okay.
Right. So it's like the low power Bluetooth.
Right.
That they're utilizing out there today.
So it would be a direct connection, password protected, I would presume.
It is a direct connection. I believe it's encrypted.
Yeah.
You can only pair one set of devices to only one Apple.
And once
iPhone.
you're done pairing, it stops.
That's
out of
correct.
Pairing mode, so nobody
That's
else
correct.
can pair up with it.
Yeah, and I can't pair more than 2 devices, for instance, the left and right, to the one phone. I would actually have to delete the other ones and then add new ones onto it.
Very cool. There is a website that I came across on your United States website that allows us to check whether or not a hearing instrument is going to be a help to us. The website that you can check out is beltonehearingtest.com. That gives you a free hearing test just to see if you do require any kind of assistance with your hearing. That's pretty cool. Where can we find out more about Beltone Canada, your products?
Well, we have a website also. It's www.beltone.ca. So
nice and easy.
Yeah, nice and easy. It's the Canadian website. We have office locators in there if you want to find a Beltone distributor close by to you. We have all our product information in there. It's pretty easily laid out and up and running.
Very good.
So.
Very good. And how do we actually go about purchasing a Beltone hearing instrument?
Well, the first step basically is to locate the Beltone distributor in your area.
Okay.
And set up
we
an
do that
appointment
through the
with
website,
them.
can we?
You can do that through the website too.
Okay.
Yeah, you can contact them through there.
Very cool. So go to beltone.ca, find out more about the product itself. Yeah. Just to make a quick mention, I feel like I kind of have to. One of the things that I and your customers really admire about Beltone is that you're not just a hearing aid company. They're not just a hearing aid company. They really genuinely care about helping people to just be able to hear better, but from a bit of a different perspective, where you're actually caring. It's not just a business. You're really working to build relationships with these customers on an ongoing basis.
when somebody gets a hearing instrument, it's a long-term commitment. They're going to be wearing these products for
not just
quite a long
for them,
time.
but for you. It seems you take them on.
Yeah, for sure. The average hearing instrument can last a number of years, right? And now today, because people are living longer, they're going to get more than one set over their lifetime, right? So, and the relationship that you have with the practitioner is vital, because they know who you are, they know your hearing loss, and they know what you like.
Very good. And what innovations are over the horizon for Beltone? At this point, we've seen some really, really cool stuff, being able to sync to our devices and communicate with our devices. What is coming next?
Well, I think there's still an expansion on the whole wireless technology. I think it's going to get faster, it's going to get more efficient, and it's going to get smaller too. So I think that's really where we're going to see things going.
What is this little...
This actually is not a wireless instrument, but it is what we call a completely in-canal hearing instrument. Yeah. That's for the person who really doesn't want anyone to know they're wearing a hearing aid.
Yeah, it's very, very tiny.
It is still digital technology. It's still programmable, but a very small product, custom made, and really designed to go deep in the ear canal and be very inconspicuous, so to speak.
Neat stuff. Anything else? Oh, sorry.
I have a question from Albuquerque, Turkey, and I just have to quickly find it here.
Turkey. Okay.
Albuquerque, Turkey. Sorry. It was way back at the beginning, and it was about active noise cancellation. Okay, so if there's active noise cancellation, and if Beltone can be programmed with specific patterns to be inserted into audio stream, if that makes any sense.
Can you reread the question for me?
So it says, Robbie, please ask about active noise cancellation, and if Beltone can be programmed with specific patterns or a specific pattern to be inserted into audio stream, if it makes...
So are we talking about actively canceling certain waveforms? Is that what we're asking, Albuquerque, Turkey? So, for example, I mentioned the furnace or the air conditioner would always be a fairly consistent frequency.
Right.
So can we then program in to remove those frequencies or enhance those frequencies into the app?
Active noise cancellation really is about, and if I'm understanding it correctly, we're looking at reducing background noise, for instance. Okay.
Yeah.
And being active, what we mean is that when we're reducing it around a central area and not just bringing all the noise down.
So it's a bit of a threshold.
Yeah, and our instruments have ways, because we divide up the frequency response into 17 channels.
Yeah.
So we have noise cancellation operating in all 17 channels. So if we do detect a steady state noise, I mean, whenever there's speech present, we don't want to knock it out. We want to preserve the speech. Yeah. But if we do detect noise, the instrument can actually determine what channel it is in and reduce the noise in an active sense. Okay. Now, we also have something called active feedback cancellation, where we can detect what we call a feedback path, and we will basically create a negative, kind of like if you have a sine wave, you would create its negative so that it cancels it out. That's active cancellation.
Okay.
So that is built into the product.
Wavetable inversion.
Right.
In your ear. That's really cool.
Yeah. So basically, before the hearing instruments are even fit on you, for feedback at least, we would do a noise or a feedback calibration to determine what the feedback path is. So we would actually make the hearing instruments go into feedback. Because feedback
to calibrate
happens,
and figure it out. Yeah.
Feedback happens when we have what we call slit leakage of sound, and it is re-amplified. Right. That's why when you're at a concert or something like that, you hear feedback. It's the amplified sound being re-amplified again when you put a mic up to an amp or something. And like that.
This all sounds pretty technical, but I would assume from the end user standpoint, it's just the features there, and it just works, right? Yeah.
I mean, number one for hearing instruments, the two big things is what we talk about is comfort and clarity, so that the hearing aids sound clear, they operate correctly, and that they're comfortable, so that they don't go into feedback. They don't. They operate the way that they should in noise. I think sometimes expectations on a hearing instrument can be a little high, because suddenly people think they're like the $6 Million Man or something like that. They're going to have bionic hearing. That doesn't happen. But sometimes, we've heard about people who get hearing instruments and they can actually do better than normal hearing people in
Isn't
noise.
That interesting?
Because let's face it, when you're in a noisy environment, it's noisy. Right, even for normal hearing people.
Sasha's doing her best to aggregate the comments and questions that are coming into the chat room for Frank Skubski. He is the General Manager of Beltone Canada. And I did see Albuquerque Turkey, who mentioned tinnitus as opposed to specifically background noise or ambient noise. How does Beltone address that issue?
Well, there's actually more people suffer from tinnitus or ringing in the ears than hearing loss. Right? It is a very prevalent issue out there, and it could be associated to other medical issues that you could have. Right?
Can you explain a little bit about what it is for those of us who can't even pronounce it?
Well, basically what it is it's either it is a noise that you hear in your ears.
The ringing
all the
in
time.
the ears.
It's either a ringing in your ears. It's a buzzing in your ears.
Yeah.
We've seen a lot of ads on there before for like herbal remedies and things like that.
Yeah.
The only sort of therapy that we know of is what we call tinnitus retraining therapy, which is really what we do is we introduce other sounds, usually like soothing sounds for the person, to keep their mind off the ringing. Right. It's like when you walk into a dark room, and if there's a candle burning in the room, you will focus on that candle all the time. So what we try to do is we try to take that away. And actually, we have an app that also in the last year that we introduced, and it's called the Tinnitus Calmer.
And is this available in the App Store for?
Absolutely.
This is an iPhone. Is this something that's available in Android as well, or just iPhone in this particular case?
I think the Tinnitus Calmer right now is on the Apple, is for Apple at the App Store, but will be available for the Android.
If you can hold that just a little bit toward me so that we can see that. Okay, so this is...
Yeah, so I'm able just to, because that's the thing that happens, right, with people with tinnitus. They just focus in on the ringing in the ear or the buzzing that they're getting. Okay. So what we do is, and they can play this through the hearing instruments, some different sounds. For instance, so here you can see it just says relax or woods, or you can generate some of your own sounds.
Some people find white noise is helpful and things like that.
Right, and there's a complete sound library that we have, different soundscapes.
What's the name of this so people can check it out?
It's called the Tinnitus Calmer.
Okay.
Tinnitus Calmer.
So
and that's
check that out
too.
in the Apple App Store.
Yeah.
And see if that is helpful for you.
And people with ringing in their ears, we estimate about 60 to 65% of them probably have a hearing loss as well.
Okay.
So But again, I mean, it really is, if you are experiencing that, you probably should just go get your hearing tested and get it checked.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very good.
I have another question.
Okay.
It's from Leland, who's wondering if there's microphones built in for phone calls, or what you would do for phone calls.
Microphones built in for telephone calls.
Yes.
Yes, and that's available through this device right here, and this basically.
See this?
Yeah.
There you have it.
Right, and this basically has a microphone built into it that you would clip on to your lapel. Okay, it pairs with your telephone. Okay,
so there are supplemental devices that help with.
It's more of a
it's
more of a gateway device.
Okay. So the hearing aids itself, they don't have microphones, but this will enhance.
Yeah,
that.
you would still have to either hold the phone like this or keep it on the ground, but you would still be able to have it live streamed to your hearing instruments.
Right, so you can hear better.
Yeah, but this has a microphone built into it, so you're able to speak directly through it.
Very good.
Excellent.
All right, well, thank you so much for being here, Frank.
Thanks.
Is there anything else that you'd like to share with us about the Beltone product?
Well, I think not specifically about the Beltone product, but I'd just like to say to everybody out there, I think once you hit 50, right, I think you should go get your hearing tested.
Is that that's the threshold? Okay.
You know what? I think it's probably a good time. I know there's other things they want you to do when you turn 50, which certainly I will tell you.
This is less painful, folks.
Yeah, they're not. I mean, this is a lot more pleasant than some of the other stuff, right? So, but I would say by age 50, 55 at the latest, you should be getting your hearing tested. And early detection is important. And of course, you can always go on the Beltone website and find a professional all across North America who can provide those answers for you.
Very good. It's beltone.ca. Frank Skubski joining us tonight from Beltone, Canada. And thanks so much for being here tonight.
Thanks.
We hope you enjoyed the show. Category 5 TV broadcasts live from Barrie, Ontario, Canada every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern. If you're watching this on demand or through cable TV, check out the local show times in your area at category5.tv and find out when you can watch live and interact in the community chat room. Category 5 is a production of Prodigy Digital Solutions and is licensed under Creative Commons Attribution 2.5 Canada. We'll see you next time. Thanks for tuning in.